Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Monday. It is Monday, March 14th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Welcome, Frankie. You are number one. Okay, so we're going to get started here. There we go. And today I want to talk about a book. It's called The Hate You Give. And it was written by Angie Thomas. And a movie was made about it. And Tupac Shakur, recorded the album Thug Life, which was about hatred among individuals. 20 years later, and I'm mainly talking about the recording by Tupac. But, the world is still full of hate. Why? What is it about humans? And it is humans that we just can't seem to get it together. Why is it we spend so much time, it seems like, hating each other? I mean, is it just built into our DNA? Did it automatically start with Adam and Eve? I mean, the serpent told, Eve to take a bite of the forbidden fruit. I mean, what is it about humans that we just cannot embrace the word love? Why is it that we're constantly, um, ragging on each other? Welcome, Tuttles. So that's something that I would like to talk about. And is hatred learned? Is hatred a learned behavior? Is it something, because I am one of those people who believe that when babies are born, they're born innocent. Um, you know, if you put babies of different colors into a room, or put them in a house with no adults, interference, well, have to change diapers and things like that. But I do believe that these kids will grow up liking each other. But then you have an adult comes in, and they say something, whether it be a parent or a teacher or something you heard on TV, whatever. It could be a priest, it could be a pastor, a nun, whomever. Somebody will say something, and that child will start to think a different way. So, is hatred a learned behavior? Is it any way to unlearn it? Can you just be filled with so much hate that throughout your entire life, you just live in this bubble of just hate? So that's something that you know I don't know. The hate you give, if you're not familiar with the book, and again, it was written by Angie Thomas back in 2017. And I do believe she wrote the book when she was like around 18, 19 years old. But it was made into a movie. I've read the book, and I've seen the movie, and it was banned by the Texas School Board. back in 2017 before, being returned to the library shelves. Um, and it's a book that, in my opinion, should not be banned. It's interesting how we can read the Diary of Anne Frank, which is about, you know, World War II, the Nazis, and the extermination of Jewish people. But you read about just a book that just encompasses you know just everyday life and the world for a one particular person, and all of a sudden it is banned. Is it because we're talking about racism, or is it just the fact that people just don't want to talk about hate? So those are questions that I have. And you know at the age that I am, I've just entered another another phase of my life. I'm entering another decade, and as at my age, it is something that I still question. It's something that, you see things on the news, things are happening around you. You hear music that is playing, um, books that you read, movies that are made, and you still question, why are we still at this stage? How come we still haven't gotten it right? You look at animals, and I still say that, God should just get rid of all of us, just start over and put animals at the top of the food chain, because animals don't hate the way humans do. you know um yeah, you have, the lion, I guess, is supposed to be at the top, whatever, but animals don't hate the way we do. We're just in a class all by ourselves. So that's the question that I have. So if anybody wants to come up and chat, you are more than welcome. If not, I can keep going. Welcome the Revelator and GP Man 45. So yeah. So Tuttle says, when it comes to racism, it's learned and can be unlearned. Okay, so Tuttles, do you think hatred is a learned behavior? Not racism, but hatred. Because you can hate someone and not be a racist. You can just not like that person. You can say you hate your neighbor because their tree keeps coming over to your side, and you can really get into a brawl, whatever. So do you think hatred is a learned behavior? You know, let's see. There's some people born wrong and it comes natural, but in most cases, in my opinion, it's learned. And Frankie says usually at home. Okay. So do you believe, okay, so Frankie, when you say usually at home, are you saying that, you're, that you get most of your, how do I want to say it? You get your personality is basically formed at home. And yes, yes, GP man, you can hate the IRS. I mean, so I mean, and then again, I guess I should step back a couple of steps and say, what is hate? What is the definition of hate? So, um, you know, what what does it mean? Uh, let's see. It says to feel an intense or passionate dislike for someone, intense or passionate dislike something or someone. So, I mean, intense hostility and aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or a sense of injury. loathing. So I guess if you look at it that way, okay, the Revelator says hatred is definitely a learned behavior as well as individual. Racism is a group dynamic. Okay, all right. So, Revelator, you're saying that racism is a group dynamic, but you can still be a racist without being in a group. I mean, you can just be a racist all by yourself, just like you can hate someone all by yourself. Okay, Revelator, I see that you are, let's see. I see you're on my panel, but I'm not showing you. I don't know why. I have been having so many problems with this. Revelator, let me just send you another invite and you can come on. I don't see you on my panel. I know you're up here, but I don't see you on my panel. Let's see. He's probably going to come back in. All right, Revelator, let me send you another invite. Damn, I am not seeing you. All right, Revelator, let's try this one more time. Can you go out and come back in? This time you asked it to come up, and I'll let you in. Okay, can you ask to come up? There you are. Okay, I am so sorry about that. Thank you for being patient.
No, you cannot practice racism as an individual. It takes a group to be racist because racism is something that have to be accommodated. If a person is racist, that means that they practice disadvantaging people. And you can't do that by yourself.
I agree, sort of, kind of.
All right,
So
let me
you
give you
don't
an
think?
example. Let me give you
Okay.
an example. Say, for instance, you want to move into a building of mine, and only one person said no. Somebody can go behind them and say, just because you don't want them here, that's on you, but I want them here, we're going to get them in. Racism is when everybody that has the ability to say no says no. And then you can't get in. It takes a group of people to do that, not just one individual. Somebody that don't want to serve you at a store can get fired for denying you unless everybody behind them stand in agreement with them.
But if you don't, okay, but if you personally do not like a person because of the color of their skin,
That's prejudice. That's not racism.
but you can, but if you treat them a certain way, if you treat them, in a
Then
certain
if
way,
that, if
if they, oh wait, hold on, if they came into
okay,
your store
uh huh,
and they wanted to buy something,
uh
but
huh,
you refuse to sell it to them because I don't want to sell it to you because I don't like the color of your skin. So that's being racist.
no, that's discriminating. See, racism, discrimination, and prejudice is three different things. We just interlock them together. We we overlap them, and that's what we shouldn't do. And that's why it's so hard to explain racism as a dynamic.
All right, then let me let's see. I'm just looking up the definition: racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. You have the mic. You're the only one up here, so that's fine.
The language of racism is really gray. And what I mean by that is when you look up how it's described, it's a gray area, a total gray area. And they leave it like that because they don't want people to be able to express racism when it rears its ugly head. Because if you think that racism, prejudice, and discrimination is one and the same, then you will circularly describe racism, which means it'll almost be like you're talking like you're out of your mind. you got to specifically attack racism. Just like if you got AIDS, you don't want to get treated for COVID. You want to get treated for HIV or AIDS. See it, but if we attack it like it's all and everything else, we'll fail every time. That's why we don't do well in the courts trying to explain it.
I'm just sitting here just listening to what you're saying because I understand what you're saying. I just don't necessarily agree with what you're saying. So,
But let me say this: the disagreements in what I'm saying is what leads to even lawyers not being able to push things like the George Floyd Act. They can't push things like what's the civil rights leader, the John somebody. He got
John Lewis.
John Lewis Act. They can't push those things because they don't know how to express what's happening to them. And the reason they can't is because the language has been distorted.
Okay, but okay, so you're saying this distorted since 1965 because they were able to get it through in
Oh yes.
1965.
Oh
Yeah.
man, even beyond then, understand understand how hard it was to push for the Brown versus Board of Education Act. And the Brown versus Board of Education Act really destroyed black people. And the reason that it destroyed black people is because in 1940, 83% of black children in the fifth grade were able to read. Fast forward to the late 90s, or that late 80s to mid 90s, only 48% were able to read. And it seemed like segregation did that exactly to black people.
Okay, first, okay, can I ask you this because Frankie asked this question: this is a revolutionary bro, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Okay,
is. And thanks, Frankie, for acknowledging that. Thank you,
okay.
Frankie. I know me and Frankie was friends. I knew I loved Frankie.
Well, and Frankie, thank you very much for the pod being. You know, bro. I can I still call you bro, even though
Yeah, you
you're
can.
okay.
You
All
can, but
right,
there was a
okay.
problem with my account, so I had to
No,
come in under assume name.
I totally understand. All right, so my okay, so
Frankie a genius. Go ahead.
okay, so when you look at hatred, okay, what is your
Mhm.
definition of hate?
Hatred means, all right, let me say this. The difference between love and like, right? Like is somebody that you can tolerate, and love is somebody that you can just always be around. That's the difference between love and like. And when you look at hatred, hatred just means somebody that you can't, under any circumstances, tolerate. And that's all hatred is. Somebody you just do not choose to be around. Somebody that will make you leave if they come to a party that you're attending. That's hatred.
Okay, but hatred can also be a group dynamic, right?
Well, put it this way: if a lot of people hate one person, it's because they see the same thing in that individual. Racists don't have to see the same thing in the individual. They don't even have to know the individual. All they have to do is know the color of their skin is a problem.
Okay. So I know we're going to start talking in circles now. So I want to ask this: what is your definition of being a bigot?
Somebody who is a bigot is somebody who have taken all of the negative stereotypes combined and held those stereotypes as truths. That's all a bigot is.
But a bigot can also be an individual person.
The reason why, and the bigots are always individual. They're never groups. Bigots because you can have 5 black people who are bigots, 5 whites who are bigots, and they might not all hold the same level of bigotry in their hearts. So one bigot might be less than another. Just like if you have sellouts, coons, and Uncle Toms, there are sellouts and coons and Uncle Toms who are worse than others. We got grade A. We got to start giving them classifications. Some are grade A, some are grade B, some are grade C. But whatever it is, they're not all created equal. So, yes, there's a lot of individualism when it comes to bigotry. Let me give you an example of a prime, grade A prime bigot. Charles Barkley and George Foreman are grade A prime rate bigots. Steve Harvey.
And okay, wait, hold on. And you say that why?
I said, all right, have you ever watched boxing ever in your
Yes.
life?
Yes. Yes.
Have you ever seen a boxing match that
Yes.
George Foreman was a commentator?
Yes.
If you listen to George Foreman speak, if it's a black guy or a white guy, if the white guy do just the least amount of damage, he will act as if he is a knight in shining armor or a savior. But if a black guy does the same amount of damage or more, he'll act like, well, they're bred like that and they're supposed to be able to do that. That's not true. Either you can fight or you can't.
Well, true, but you have a lot of people who assume that. You have a lot of people who assume that just
But just
because.
because you assume that don't mean that you're supposed to express what you assume. Just
True,
say, for instance, if
but a lot of people do. A lot of people do express
okay,
that. I mean,
but they
every
can
day.
but they can do that in the comfort of their home. But it's a problem when you openly do it. Whoopi Goldberg could have expressed that World War II was white on white crime in the privacy of her own home. But you see what happened when she expressed that on The View? She got canceled for 2 weeks.
Okay, but then again, okay, then you're talking about that. Then we can talk about we were talking about this on the show the other day. Who is the guy with the Spotify?
Is it Jay-Z?
No, the one that everyone was talking about in his show. People started to cancel out of his show. White guy. Well.
Oh,
Anyway,
Joe Rogan.
yes. So
Joe Rogan.
so you have so you have a Whoopi who never even said anything racist, but she gets put on leave for 2 weeks, and then you have Joe Rogan who did,
Who compared
and
us to monkeys? Yes.
and he is still here.
But let
So
me tell you why that is.
once
Let,
again,
let
I'm
me
sorry. Go
can I
ahead.
say why that is really quick? See, there's so many coons, Uncle Toms, and sellouts when it comes to black people, right? That whenever white people do something, do you remember the comedian from Seinfeld who was saying the N word to all them black people when he
Oh
got mad about the black
yeah,
people coming in late?
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
every time a white person does something like that, there's always black people that come out the woodworks and defend them. They get like when he did that, Bill Cosby defended him and several others. You understand what? So nobody black came out and defended Whoopi, and of course nobody white came out and defended Whoopi. So therefore, she fell by the wayside because she had nobody with the ability and the might to defend her, even though she was absolutely right. Let me say this: Judaism is a religion. It's not an ethnicity or a race.
Yeah, but a lot of people think that it is. So let me
Well,
ask
people
you
say
this
that
then.
Santa Claus. People say that Santa Claus exists, but that does not make it true.
All right. So let me ask this. So you look at Whoopi. Do you think that her comments were coming from a place of, and I'm using this word, I'm particularly using this word for a reason. Do you think that Whoopi was from her comments was coming from a position of hate?
No, no, she would.
Okay.
Let me say this.
Wait, hold
Let
on,
me.
hold on. Wait,
All right, go ahead.
let
Go
me ask
ahead.
the next
Go ahead.
question. Do you think Joe Rogan was coming from a position of hate?
Let me say this. I'm going to say no for Joe Rogan too. Let me tell you why. The Trump era has made racism and comments of a derogatory fashion. It has made it vogue. It has normalized it. You got to remember, as president of the United States, Donald Trump called black NFL players. He said that their moms was that they were black sons of bitches. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So when you have a president that's not practicing any form, any form of mental aptitude, the rest of the world feel as though they don't have to either.
So okay, so with Trump, do you think that it's coming from a position? His comments were coming from a position of hate, bro. You are very, 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 very faint. I don't know if you're driving or
Oh, oh,
okay.
can you hear
There
me?
you are. Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Now I can hear
I
you.
said Arnold Schwarzenegger's father and Trump's father were very good friends. Did you know that they were both in Hitler's SS?
Yes.
So they knew about hate since the 30s and 40s. You think Trump didn't get that passed down to him?
Well, I mean, from his actions and comments, I
Well,
definitely do. So
well,
okay.
basically,
So okay, go ahead.
basically your panel answered that in the beginning of your show because most of the people in the panel were saying that hatred was a learned behavior and Donald Trump learned to hate.
Okay, now Tuttle says that it can be unlearned. So do you think that think that's true?
I'm gonna
That
say this. I'm gonna say this. It will take extreme the intensity that you learn it with will not be the intensity that will be used to unlearn it. It will take way more to unlearn that hatred than it will to learn it. So some people will never unlearn it because they might not have the ability. Or because think about this. Most people believe that if they stop doing anything, that they have to have something to replace it with. Now, my question to anybody is, what do you replace the hatred with?
can we replace it with love or at least like
Well, let me say this.
or at least tolerance?
Most of the love, most of the now you might can replace it with tolerance. You might. Let me tell you why you might can. You know, homosexuality and lesbianism was not this accepted 30 years ago, or even less. 30 years ago, it definitely wasn't. I think what's happening is due to bullying of cancellation, a lot of people are starting not to like it, not to love it, not to respect it, but to tolerate it.
Okay, so okay, so I'm gonna go this way then. What is your definition of tolerance?
Tolerance means that you are dealing with something only on a level that you fear offending it based on the what could be, which means that if your business,
Okay,
just say for instance,
you are muffled again, bro.
all right, say for instance, you're a pastor, right? You know you have a government 501 that makes you tax exempt. And as a person in the community, you would be afraid to develop the stigma of going against the grain. So therefore, you will tolerate homosexuality only because you are afraid of what's capable of happening to you. That's what tolerance is. And this right here definitely gave us the LGBTQ, the Jews, and everybody else, that if you offend, there will be a problem. They taught us the definition and the true meaning of tolerance.
Let me ask you a question. Did you read the book, The Hate You Give?
By Tupac
No, this is
or about Tupac? It's
not
about Tupac.
well, not really. Tupac, he wrote. I mean, Thug
Well,
Life.
he said that Thug, yes, he said that Thug meant that. No, I
Yeah.
didn't
So,
read that. He said he did.
okay. So you haven't read the book
I haven't read that.
By Angie Thomas. Okay, that's the
Uh-uh.
book that you may want to read. So, okay, let me ask you this: do you think that, because you brought up the word tolerance, do you think that we tolerate people that we, and I'm using this word again, that we hate, not that we dislike or whatever? Do you think that we tolerate people that we hate? Welcome,
No, I
Bara.
wouldn't say people that we hate, people that we just don't hold in high regard or esteem. Let me give you an example. Say, for instance, you have a job, and on your job, there's a particular supervisor that you can do without. You only tolerate them based on whatever time you need to be in front of them. And that means that if you have to go to them for a particular thing, if they have to relay a particular message to you, but on your own, you will not go around them. And that's only meaning that you're tolerating them. That's all it
So,
is.
so why do you think that we're at a position? I mean, this is 2022, and we're
Uh-huh.
still at a position where people hate.
Uh-huh.
People are bigots. They're racist. We
Uh-huh.
tolerate people, because I know there are people that I tolerate,
Uh-huh.
that I don't like.
Uh-huh.
Why are we still here? Why
I'm
can't
a,
we not? I mean, as human beings, is it just the way God made us, or I mean,
no,
what?
no, we're in a system that's predicated on hate. You gotta remember, this country was built on the very racism that most people say they're not. Think about this. When the Constitution was drawn up, the United States Constitution, do you know that black people wasn't even considered a part of the Constitution?
Of course
At
not.
every, at every step of the way of getting us in there, we had to be wrote into it from the 13th Amendment on. And there's 27, 28, 29 amendments now. And from the 13th on, we had to be written in to be included. And still, our very inclusion was an exclusion. Let me give you an example. They wrote that in the 13th Amendment that everybody who was slaves, black as well as white, because remember when it said
Right.
indentured servants were white slaves.
Right.
Make no mistake.
Right. They were
Okay,
from Europe. Right.
okay. Now what they said was all slaves have been freed except you be duly convicted. Now think about this. America was not even an imprisonment country until 1865 when they freed the slaves. Do you know why? Because they had all those slaves and no more use for them. So they was locking them up if they didn't have houses. They was locking them up if they was on the street at a certain time for just petty offenses. They were giving them felonies and locking them on chain gangs for 10 plus years just to do away with them. The mass incarceration that we're experiencing today, it stems all the way from 1865. This country is predicated on hate, yet it's the only country that's hypocritical enough to say, hey, nobody's racist. Well, if nobody's racist, why are all these unarmed black men and black women dying at the hands of police and the sons of who they call terrorists, who are the Arabs, their sons make it to jail?
Okay. So I'm coming back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, was about racism. So can you tie racism into the word hate?
You can't tie racism into the word hate because everybody is capable of hate. Midgets probably hate giants. Fat people probably hate skinny people. The LGBTQ probably hate straight people. So because anybody is capable of hating, you can't call racism hatred. And if it is, it's a totally different kind of racism. It's so different that you can't even call it that, because we got to stick to what the origin of a thing is. And the origin of racism is the hatred between blacks and whites. I don't want to give the symptoms of HIV over to obesity. We can't do that.
Okay. All right. Let me address Bahram. Welcome. No, this isn't a new time. We went through daylight savings on Sunday, so we had to push our clocks an hour forward. So
Okay.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking that. I just
yeah.
jumped on Podbean and saw your show was running, and I was like, "What?"
So, but I'm happy to say that Rev Bro is back.
Nice. Have
He's
you
back.
asked him about coming on Friendly Differences yet?
I'm going to ask him at the end of the show.
Okay, sorry for
Yeah,
ruining it.
that's okay. So, Bon, I mean, do you have any comments on, because Bro is on a roll. So I know you just came
Yeah.
on, but just from listening to what he said, and what have you, you know,
Mhm.
I mean, what do you think in terms of your views of racism, hatred, tolerance, bigotry? Do you think they're all tied into one, or do you think that they're separate, or you know?
Um, I would say they're all forms of hate. You know, we, it's a shit. I don't know. Yeah, they're all forms of hate. When you have feelings towards someone in a negative light, whether it's because of the color of their skin or because they're like Rev Bro just rattled off a few of them. You know, fat people hate skinny people, and it's all negativity, which is all hate. Um, and yeah, I would put them all. I mean, if you're wanting me to grade them in the which one is more stronger than the other, then I don't know if I could do that. I know Rev Bro probably believes that racism is probably the worst hate of them all. Some people, rightly, if that's your opinion, then you know. But I,
Okay,
I I don't like to. Yeah, on you go, on you go.
okay, okay. Can I just interrupt you one moment, because class one probe said that hatred is human nature, nothing more. And then he says he's replying to GP Man, when we see it more than human nature on an individual level. In my opinion, we give them power, and not just a person being a butthead. I agree with you. This is only my opinion. So you want to speak to that in addition to whatever you were saying? And I apologize for
Mhm.
interrupting.
Um, no, I think I'll just pass the mic. I'm still kind of collecting my thoughts. I only just joined, so I mean, I was enjoying the rant from Revolutionary Bro. I think I'll chime in a bit later in the show, but
Okay.
for me, they're all forms of hate. Yes.
Okay. Bro, before I come to you, I am going to go to Chill Will. Chill Will, how are you? I hope you're wonderful, fantastic dude. What is up? Did you have a good evening?
It was awesome. It was actually it was a trying day, but I'm always blessed, and I'm well. I'm glad to hear from
All right.
you and
So
everybody else as
now can I say, so what do you think?
well. Go ahead. Go ahead. Goodness.
So you want to chime in, or you want to pass
Uh, oh,
pass the mic?
well, from what I'm hearing is that I want to make sure I get clarify the question for me, because I think I know what the question is, but in general, I want to make
Well,
sure I
I
know.
mean, have you read the book or seen the movie The Hate You Give,
I believe I have.
about
But
the
it was a while
16-year-old
ago. This
who
was a
who
while.
was a witness to a shooting of her friend by law enforcement, and all the riots that happened afterwards?
No, I don't. I don't know if I've seen that movie,
Okay. Well,
but I
okay.
do. I mean,
And
I'm familiar with certain, familiar situations.
okay. And then the hate you give was also a slogan that Tupac used to use, and in his one of his last albums,
Mm.
Thug Life, he was talking about the
Mm-hmm.
hate you give, the hate that you put out. So my question
Mm-hmm.
is, why are we still talking about hate now? And is hatred, number one, is it a learned behavior? Do you think that hatred and racism and bigotry and tolerance, do you think that's all the same? Or what do you think? And
Hate,
I wish you had come in
bigotry, and
earlier when,
tolerance. You say tolerance?
yeah.
Hmm. Whew. Uh, that's interesting. Oh, wow, that's interesting. But mm, okay. So I think I got just what you're saying. So what you're saying is that basically, well, I'll tell you what I think in general about any of that. Hate is definitely learned behavior in some aspects. Obviously, it's a natural tendency to be upset or be angry or have resentment towards something that has done something to you. But if you don't have any kind of reference point and you end up like hating the whole color because of someone else who pushed that reference point along or just instilled something in you that you didn't necessarily know. They made it normal, so that's I don't know. That's learned. Some things can be learned. I mean, but if I'm every day with somebody and they treat me certain ways, then that's experience. So it varies in that right. But as far as just in general, I mean that's natural. I think that's the test though of life for us to be able to. That's why I mean what humans are able to do. Let's be able to counteract that, fight that, and empathize. Do the opposite, right? Empathize, love, and patience is what we have to, and which is not easy. But typically, I feel like when you spew it out, that energy, it comes back, and the only way to break it is through patience, love, and things of that nature. And the tolerance. When you say tolerance, it's just like, whew, I don't know if I could group that because there's different type of tolerance as well. Like you can tolerate me, even though you
I
may
mean, no,
hate
because
me,
I'm saying that because you can tolerate people you hate, you can tolerate people that you dislike. So that's
but
that.
I can
That's
tolerate the
why.
people I love.
Well, true, true.
So that's why I didn't know if I don't know if that would be synonymous with that. Tolerance is a
Okay,
form of patience as well.
okay.
Well, you can tolerate a lot. I know you, your kids
Well, yeah, you
or your
tolerate your kids
husband
sometimes. That's
sometimes.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Boy, oh
This is
boy.
true.
So
This is true.
so I'm not quite sure that would be grouped in none of that. But I mean, I guess it can be to some degree, and how you put it. That's interesting though. I like that. I have to think about that part, but for the most
Okay,
part, I think we combat it with empathy, love, and patience.
okay. So I'm going to ask this question off of what Frankie said. She says hatred is learned, but I was injured because a bigot who was a racist punched me in my throat. He was 10, so was I. So some of you all who know the story, Frankie lost her ability to speak because a 10-year-old boy uh, at recess when she was 10 punched her in her throat because she was sticking up for two black kids. So she says because a bigot who was a racist. Now, bro, I'm gonna get to you, but Frankie is combining the bigot and the racism together, where bro was separating them. So, chill. Do you think that that's from what she said? What do you think in terms of what she said? A bigot who was a racist.
I, I thought that was one of the bigot. eh, Maybe if unless I have that's definitely possible. My operational definition of what a bigot is typically, I don't know. You always think older person, right? So that's interesting that you said it was a younger person, and but it doesn't have to be, I guess. And they definitely would automatically be racist. Like that's the thing of it. He can't really separate them. I felt I could be wrong.
Okay,
But
so
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. No, okay, bro, you want to come in and let Chill tell Chill what you think about the whole bigotry and racism, and what do you think of what Frankie says, a bigot who was a racist?
Let me say this. Let me say this. There are, remember I said that racism, prejudice, discrimination, bigotry, they're all elements of racism. But in and of themselves, they don't have to be racist. Do you know that you can have a bigot that can feel the way about the LGBTQ or the Jews that Archie Bunker felt it about black people? You could be a bigot on so many levels. See, the thing is, racism really constitutes just one thing. And there are key components that fit within the framework or the context or the construct of racism, but in and of themselves, individually, they don't have to be racism. Think about this. You could be prejudiced against chocolate ice cream if you only like vanilla. You can discriminate against a poodle if you only love Doberman pinchers. So, every one of those words that stand alone just don't have to be a component or used as a key component of racism at all times. So, yes, a bigot can be a racist, but all bigotry is not predicated on what exactly racism is.
Okay. Let me read what Class Probe says. He says, the other day on Podbean, I went to a broadcast where the broadcaster was a member of the KKK. His podcast was a part of their organization. I was surprised to see it. I've never met, I'm assuming you mean I've never met someone in the Klan. I didn't think they were around. Yeah, the Klan is around and live and kicking. Everyone in that podcast knew that the host and others in the chat was off, was off. Okay. All right. So, okay. So again, I come back to, why are we in 2022 and humans are still hating each other, where you can put a cat and a dog together and they can become friends?
Let me say this. Let me say this really quick, and I'm going to pass the mic. Do you know that the way this country was established, there's no other way that it can be done? Think about this. You can have a group of white people who say, I don't want to be racist. Well, you see what happened to them. When Rittenhouse was on trial, Rittenhouse got off simply because there was a precedence that was established. The precedence is the ruling that comes out of whatever the verdict is. Do you know that there was a president established that said to white people, if you go out and you rally with them, your life is just as less valued as theirs is. That's why he got off.
Well, I have my own reasons for why he got off, but
Let me know. Let me know.
because but we're still at a point where, yes, this country was built on racism, but I'm talking about an entire world. I mean, it's like
Well,
the
you got to
entire
remember
the,
the
the,
same
the, the entire
racism,
globe.
the same racism that we go through here. It's the same racism that they go through in the Middle East. We hear about countries clashing with Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan all the time. Even black people don't shed crocodile tears for them like they're doing for the Ukraine, because we don't value their life. We see Africa at war all the time with their own country and others, and we don't cry for them. The same hatred is going. China is right now building in South Africa and saying to Africans, I dare you to say something. That is a hostile takeover, one nation to another. And we don't even talk about that.
I know.
Racism is worldwide.
Well, China,
It's
they're
not just
coming.
here.
They're going everywhere. As long as we continue to sell them land,
Racism is
they will continue
worldwide.
to come in. It is. But again, it still comes down to racism is still and I don't even want to just hatred. It is worldwide, but it's a human thing. Like I said, you don't see animals hating on each other the way humans do. So
But
if
it's
God, but hold on, if God were to just start everything over and say, I'm going to start from just scratch, do you think that we would come back better?
no, because unless he does one thing, unless he makes it almost impossible for the ethnic groups to get to one another. Because as long as they have access, meaning that they can travel from Europe to China, meaning that they can travel from Europe to Africa or Europe or the America or the Americas, they will find a reason to strong arm, take that. You got to remember, look at the language that is used when the world go against each other. Don't they call it world wars? That almost sounds to me like one planet taking over another one, because this ain't a world. This is a planet. Now, if you look at Saturn, Saturn's another world. If you look at Jupiter and Mars, they're other worlds. But we're all on the same land, yet they call the world wars. That's crazy. Just the language, the way we use language is abusive. And that's why we can't speak things we can't speak truth to power because our language is so messed up.
You bring up a very interesting point. I'm going to go to Bob. Bob, I'm sorry, Chill. Did you want to say something?
Just really quick, Bob. I'm sorry. This is how often I love this conversation, but this reminds me how the last question when you asked it, did would God, if he had to start over, do the things the same? I think he would, because I don't think he holds what we hold as negative or positive in the same regard. As completely apples and oranges, passionate, um, or just certain traits of that may develop into anger or certain feelings. There's a feeling involved, and so he's not what he. I don't know. We can say, "Oh, the world hunger," but he said, like, if you just turn around and farm your own land, you ain't gonna be hungry. So it's really your fault that you're hungry, right? You know what I'm saying? You eating cows. You ain't supposed to be eating cows. You're supposed to be eating the grass that's right outside, or whatever. I mean, so he has a whole totally different thought process, and the fact that humans, if there is a God, that think that we can fathom the way he thinks, and it's certain, we can't even figure out how to clean to cure the common cold or coronavirus. The fact that we think we can fathom or even think on his level is the arrogance that humans have, and that's why we do destroy ourselves in the earth, because we don't have that respect overall. And I'm just talking about everybody. I'm just talking about that overall. But I'll just shut up right there. Go ahead.
Bob, you have the mic.
No worries, bud. By the way, hi, Chill. Hi.
What up, bro?
What up? So I was sitting listening to Revolutionary Blow there, and I loved how he brought up like the World War III stuff. And to me, again, I know you're going to hate me for saying this because I know you think I blame everything on this entity,
On
but
the media? Are you
we,
about to say the
yeah,
media?
yeah, we are taught to hate. Like a baby is born who knows nothing about racism, nothing about, doesn't know how to hate, but we're taught how to hate by our parents and by the media. And when I say media, I don't just mean the news. I mean all forms of media. And revolutionary bro even mentioned like we're all hating on Russia right now because of the power of the media. But he's talking about other things that are going on that, like, I've posted up a lot about this, but Israel and Palestine, that war's been going on for 80 years, and there's no free Palestine and free, all this stuff that we're doing for Ukraine. There's none of that. So the media are so powerful that tomorrow they could literally come out with a story that well, I always use the analogy of during COVID, all the media would need to do is come out and say, listen, guys, we found out that COVID only attacks people at the 5 foot mark. So we want you to start crawling on your hands and knees, because if you're stood at 5 feet tall, it can get you, it can attack your get into your system that way. And you would guarantee you'll start seeing people crawling about in their hands and knees. So that's how, our minds and our opinions are not our own. So racism, if the media came out tomorrow and started saying things about this black person saved this white person from drowning, and told us stories like that, then you would get less racism from white people. And if they did it vice versa, it's because they like to highlight things that divide us, divide and conquer. And again, that, you'll get people who will buy it for everything it is, and you'll get people who will know what they're doing. And I certainly know that the media are all about the divide and conquer. So even another analogy, you're going to have people in the world right now that are like, or the Amish community even, who are sitting wondering what's COVID or what's racism. Like, there's going to be someone sat on a bank fishing away, thinking, what's going on? I don't know, because I'm so happy in my life. I'm fishing. I'm going about my own business. I don't watch TV. Like, that is the power of the media. So, whether you want to go back before media and say that it must be, human taught, then that's fair also, because, there's societal things that, get on people's nerves, and, hate is spread through that as well. But ultimately, the media are, the main cause of the division and the hatred in the world, because I don't think human nature is to hate. I think it is to love.
Okay, so Bob, let me ask this. I'm just going with something that Tuttle said. That's exactly what I said was learned, but it can be unlearned. And then Frankie says, but like Bro said, unlearning hatred can be hard. And then Tuttles comes back and says, when you wake up and realize racism was invented by the elite to keep the masses separated, you realize racism is stupid.
Salad
So,
Blue, can I
okay.
answer that real quick? What Tuttle Skywalker said. Let me just say this: racism was not established by the elite to keep people separated. That wasn't the case. Racism was established so that the elite could biblically justify chattel slavery. Understand this, Solid Blue. If you look at the Bible, everywhere that black people came from, in particular Egypt at that time, do you know that they almost labeled it everything short or less than satanic? They made it look like all of the pharaohs was bad, all of the guards was, because they had to do that in order to justify chattel slavery and biblically do it. So now you even have verses in the Bible that says that if somebody strike you, you have to turn the other cheek. Well, that worked wonders for the slave master, because he was probably constantly striking slaves who felt it was wrong for them to even fight back. So, we can't just say that racism was made to separate people, because that wasn't its only function.
Okay, hold on, bro, because Tuttle just came back and said, yes, this was just semantics from what I said.
No, it's not about word. Semantics means wordplay. You didn't play with words. You exactly said what I spoke against. So that, because I can read, Tuttles, I can read, and you said that it was created to separate the masses, and I answered your question. You didn't mince words. You said that.
Tuttles, you want to
See,
come up? Or I'm inviting Tuttles up, but Bob, go ahead.
See, obviously, I agree with Tuttles on there, because there are elite leaders and people in the past who have used quotes, and I have plenty of them saved in my phone, where they've said that that race is the biggest tool that the elites have to divide us, and it's duality and all that. And I also have to push back on slavery, and it's probably one of the most controversial things I say, and I hope you accept it well, but I don't see slavery as racist. I think because then you would have to say that it was only black people that were held as slaves, when we know that black people held black people as slaves and also white people held white people as slaves. It was an abhorrent thing, slavery, but I just don't know how we can justify that the elites cause division just to have slaves. I certainly have to push back on that.
Well, can I push back on what Bahram just said?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me say this. Bahram, with all due respect, one thing I do not expect you to know, especially by default, is Black history. Let me say this. Even though whites held white slaves and blacks held black slaves, American style chattel racism is the worst slavery on the planet Earth. And not just that. Do you know that this slavery with the whites who were slaves here, do you know that they were on time constraints? The slave master would say to the indentured servitude, because they were volunteer slaves. They came from other countries to go into slavery based on the fact that after a 6 to 7 year period, they will be set up and establish their own plantations. Did you know that, Solid Blue?
I knew that, and
Okay,
indentured
okay.
and indentured servants also had a choice. It was either
Yes, indeed. It was voluntary.
you go to jail now, or you become an indentured servant. So you had a choice. Whereas
Or
slaves,
you didn't have to
or
come to America at all.
you didn't
You
have
could
to
have
come
stayed
to
in
America.
prison in
Right,
your country.
right. Whereas for African slaves, we
No
didn't have
choice.
a choice. We were rounded up and we were
And I
chained.
don't expect Bahram to know that.
But okay. So Bob.
Yeah, I know that, and I know slavery is it's a horrible thing, and it's something that we all should hate. But in every culture and every race, we've all had our hard histories, and I'm not trying to put slavery down a peg, but like even my ancestry, we've all seen Braveheart. That was a reality. The Scottish people were beaten, raped. The English soldiers would go in and rape and burn our villages down, and and then you could look at the Irish history with the famines. And I don't even know about the Japanese or the Asian types of cultures, but I think every culture will have a hard luck past, a history. And I don't think I've been on the show plenty of times, and I've said that living that life, and I know we need to have the conversations, because I know there's still a lot of racist people in the world, but ultimately, when does it get to the point where we start talking about like how to fix it, rather than bring it, talking about because I don't think there are any people. There are obviously, like you were saying, the KKK still exist and things, and there are people who still have those views, but ultimately we can have these conversations about racism and hate and things, but when does it come the point where we start thinking about how to fix it, and then ultimately moving on, than harping on? Because I don't think creating that culture and teaching people that you're automatically, because of your skin color or your race or the color of your hair or anything like that, that you start off a step down from everyone else. So you're creating a victim culture of people who believe that,
I'm so glad you
and
said
some people will just give up. That, like I've told you before about that Sasha Johnson from the UK, the BLM protester, who taught her kids, black power, and then taught them that white men are just going to try and keep you down. Some of those kids might do well, but I reckon a lot of the kids that are being taught that will just automatically give up, because they'll feel, what's the point? I'm always going to be held back. So I don't like that narrative at all. And I'm not just saying it because of we're talking about racism. I'm talking about everything, all the hate that we have to contend with in the world. I tend to try and, fight through, not even fight through it, but just, try your best, like everyone has to.
Can I say something really quick? Can I push back like really hard? Let me say this, Bob Ram. I respect you.
Wait, bro, wait, hold on, because I want to say something to Bob. She'll always says it's good to talk about these things because you're not going to fix them unless you talk about them. And with hatred and racism and with bigotry, whatever it is, even if you're talking about whether or not your child can go play over someone's house, if you don't talk about things and if you don't understand where it came from, you're not going to be able to fix it. If you don't understand why, why the why your neighbor doesn't like your son or your son doesn't like his son, you can't keep saying, well, why don't they go and why don't they go to the movies together? If there's always that pushback and you don't understand why, then it's never going to get fixed. And that's the thing about it. Nobody wants to talk about the why. So you can't fix it until you talk about the why. That's just my opinion. Bro, go ahead.
Do you know that for Bahram to say that, and I'm not expecting him to know, I don't expect him to be well groomed and shaped and versed in Black history. I don't expect him, but it's very disrespectful for him to say, well, why don't they just move on? Or why don't they just talk about fixing the move? And let me tell you why. The Jewish people every year come up with a new Holocaust program, and nobody will dare tell the Jews to shut up and get over it. I'm so sick and tired of white people having the mitigated audacity to even say something like that to us and say we're creating a victim culture. They never say that to the Jews. See, let me just say this. Whenever you are talking about a subject of this magnitude, you have to be extremely careful of what come out your mouth because you're talking to a people who have been facing a particular hurt for over 500 years. Solid Blue, do you know that some Ukrainians are here right now? You know that, right?
Yes.
And those Ukrainians that are here, they will be able to go to the banks, get loans, move wherever they want to move because there's no red line redistricting, red tape that's set up to stop them from getting. Do you know
No, I mean,
that
I understand what you're saying, and then the Haitians were turned away, and not one Haitian
and
was
not only
able to
that,
come along. No, I totally get it.
and not only that, Solid Blue, don't you know that we qualify for a loan for college? We qualify for a loan for a house and a car. But you know what we very seldom qualify for? Business loans. Because they do not want to give a level playing field, even though people believe that we already have it. And all the loans that they give us, guess what they're designed to do, Solid Blue? From college to your car note. They're designed to put you in debt.
All right, I am going to let Bob answer that, and then Chill. I'm gonna go to you because I know you've been waiting very patiently. Bob.
Well, I just don't agree, or not don't agree. Like what you said, Solid Blue, before Revolution Blue took over. Like we need to have the conversation, otherwise nothing gets fixed, and that's fair enough because not everyone's heard the conversation of why. But and I've been on the show plenty, and we've talked about the why, and I am pretty well versed on Black history. I've got my own podcast. I know about slavery. I know about the injustices and the oppression that the Black race has received. But my point still stands. I think the white people have had their injustices, Jewish people have had it. We've all had it to some certain degree, and we can grade slavery probably be at the top. In fact, yeah, it is at the top. It's the most disgusting thing. But I don't think it's a point scoring thing where white people have had something done, but slavery's worse, so we get more points for that, and we need to have more. Like the conversation of reparations. For me, I do push back on it. I was once on Podbean one night. I clicked on to Podbean, and there was this show that I've actually only seen once, and I've never seen it again. And this was maybe 3 months ago. And the title of the show was Reparations. And I clicked on because I'd heard about reparations, and I just wanted to know, what it was. And this lady was talking openly, and I asked her, I was like, what do you believe is what do you believe you guys should get in return for slavery or for reparations? And she turned around and said that she believes every black person in America, or every black person, should receive $5 million and never have to pay tax for the rest of their lives and get free healthcare. And I was like, hold on a minute. So you, who never went through slavery, nobody on this planet right now is a slave or has been a slave or has ever owned a slave. So I don't agree with that at all. Otherwise, do I have the right to ask for reparations because of what the Scottish people went through back in the day with William Wallace and the way England treated us? So ultimately, I think the conversation needs to push forward onto fixing slavery, fixing racism, and agreeing that it's a thing that all cultures, all races do have, and how do we fix that? Because I'm all about how do we fix it. I don't go about, I've received some prejudice in my life, and I've had uphill battles to fight, and I wouldn't go around feeling sorry for myself. I would just beat those things. And I think sometimes the victim culture can take hold of you, and it kind of hold you back. Yeah.
Okay, Bob. Okay, Chill. I am coming to you, but Bob, I am going to say this, because this is one thing that I think that people of color, and when I say people of color, I'm talking about African Americans, and some African Americans, they agree with me. Some of them don't. We are in a group, and I don't think we have this victim mentality, and that's insulting. We have, if anything, to me, we're some of the strongest people. Some of the strongest people, because we put up with a lot of stuff. And mainly because when we walk into a room, I can hide the fact that I'm black. I'm sorry, I can hide the fact that that I'm married. I can hide the fact that I could be gay. I can hide the fact that I'm a woman. I can dress up, like a man. But I can't hide the color of my skin. And whether or not, when people say I don't see color, you're not telling the truth. Because when you say you don't see color, you're saying you don't see me. I understand what you're saying, but we are who we are. When you see us coming down the street, the first thing you see, and it's mentally, is this person's skin. When I see a person walk through the door, I'm looking at a white person, a Latino, an Asian, or whatever. I mean, that's just fact. And when slavery ended, slaves were supposed to get 40 acres. They weren't supposed to get the mule. A lot of people think that we were supposed to get the mule. We were supposed to get 40 acres. But everyone was like, oh, no, 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 no. There's no way we're going to give these slaves 40 acres. But what they did was they gave slave owners, especially slave owners in Washington, D.C., they gave them $300 per slave, which translates now into about $3,000 per slave. Why? For loss of property. Slave owners were given $300 per slave for loss of property. And we couldn't even get 40 acres. Now, do I think we should get do I think that we should get $5 million? Not necessarily, no. But at the same time, I may not have been a slave in the true sense, but the things that I feel and deal with, and sometimes on a daily basis, I am still a slave. So those are things that I think that people who don't look like us just will not understand, because those are things that we deal with all the time. I live in a city where I have been told so many times, you're in the wrong neighborhood. My city is 11 years old. It was an incorporated area. I was one of the first people to have a house built here. We've been here for almost 20 years. And I'm going to listen to somebody who's only been here for 3 years tell me I'm in the wrong neighborhood? Seriously? Really? So those are the things that you have to think about. And with that, Chill, I know you have been patiently waiting. I am passing the mic to you.
Yeah, man, this is an awesome show, and but I'm good. You can hang in there, brother, and listen. I commend you. But don't take nothing personal. It's just their thoughts on like I don't think I'm sure that personally is attacking you. They're just saying what's insulting and what may not be insulting, just if you ain't know. And that's just to them, because for me, I wouldn't. I understand what you're saying. I don't get insulted. By some of it because I kind of get the gist of it. But what we're talking about are philosophies. Now we can the problem is that we can understand each other, but we still have to agree. And I won't say you don't know our history. You can very well know every in the house and still elect to say, get over it. Pull up your pants, put your shoes on, go out there and work. Now, I agree with that. But I don't want you to think that we haven't been doing that. That's the part I really think that's a strong thing to know. It's implied. If you're African American in this country, you're gonna have to work. It's just a cliche term. 10 times to get, twice as hard to get half as less. That's what we have to do. So that means you got to work 10 times harder just to get above water. You come in knowing that. Now you can have a defeatist attitude about it, or you can say, you know what? I don't care. I ain't worried about that. I'm gonna stick to my guns and do what I got to do, and just outwork everybody. And so that's why you tend to see, when black folks are amongst the professional ranks, you'll see a lot of like astute, like black folks going to Harvard. They might be top of the class because they just used to going that hard. You know what I'm saying? Or whether it's just they're amongst a different climate of people, and they feel like that's the mentality they have. I gotta be the best because that's the only way I'm gonna even get a level playing field. And you have to acknowledge that though, right? You can't be. You gotta be able to acknowledge that's the case. We gotta know that's what we're up against. You gotta know what you're up against. And so that's the part where I may disagree with you. I'm not harping on it because you got to know exactly that's what the why. Why is there? How is there? When it's there? It's for a reason. Now, in reference to reparations, in general, I do agree with you as well on the elitists use racism as a tool to separate us. That's easy. That's about it. That's absolutely the case. But because you gotta think about it, a person who made the Constitution, all these smart guys, they know that black folks in general were able to learn, speak, read, all of that. They know that. But we need to make some money, first of all. So we need racism and we need slavery. So somebody got to be at the bottom of the totem pole. Let's put the blacks there because we can easily make people hate them. And the middleman can easily hate them and they can identify with us because we're the same color. But at the end of the day, we just need you to make us the money so we can become the best best superpower in the world right now. It ain't even about racism. It's more about the money. I agree with that. That don't mean it's not there, but I agree with that wholeheartedly. They could care less if it was the alien, if it was whoever, whoever they could put down there, they would have put down there and made that facade of racism so they can make money off of that group. It has to be somebody down there to do it. Free labor. That's what made this country. And so that's why you can't even necessarily get over that, right? Like you said, the Holocaust, never one gets over that. But in general, reparations are due because that's what you promised. So, you told me, hey, buddy, I'm gonna be here at 5 o'clock, and you don't come there at 5, or hey, bro, you know what? I owe you $500 that you know borrowed last month, and you tell me you're gonna give it to me next month. I'm not asking for more than what you took from me. I'm asking for my just due, and that's the problem when they speak of reparations. You're acting as if we're asking for something for free. No, we're asking for something that's old that we never received, and that other people can come over here and capitalize on, and we can't hear ourselves in some cases. And with immigrants, like, that's a big deal. So that's the biggest problem. We don't have any land. Black folks ain't got no land. You know what I'm saying? Black folks ain't got a whole lot, and then a lot of times it's denied from us. If we do get land, it's the worst kind. So not to say we don't have opportunity, but it's hard to sit here and watch someone's forefathers of this America benefit from that unfairness, and then we ask, and then we're still kind of like hemorrhaging from it, and not want to even the scales. I wasn't a slave. No, they weren't a slave owner, but they're so damn near capitalizing off of the hundreds of years of that unfairness and that position they've been put in. So and we're at the other spectrum, we're still hurting from it. So as just a decent person, why would you want to come back and say, you know what, let me give something, because we paying for the sins of our fathers, period. Or either way, so that's a big deal. So reparations that's what reparations is for, just getting what you're owed. I'm not saying we got to get the sun, moon, and the stars, but damn, you still enough had it at one point, your forefathers did, and you laughing and looking at them down on me, acting like you just did it by yourself. So
My
Hold on, May. I said Shy can have the mic next. Go ahead, Shy lady.
Okay, I want to address a few things. First, I want to go back to address what Bahram said about, and I'm just paraphrasing. I'm trying to remember because it was said several minutes ago, but I think he was saying that blacks are they're like ourselves, the ones who are today wanting, I guess, reparations, but yet we were not part of the slavery system. Now, you can take that same argument. You can look at the Native Americans. There are Native Americans who are given opportunities to go to college for free right now. They weren't a part of what happened when the Europeans came over and took their land and nearly wiped them out with atrocities like what Columbus did to them, just outright killed them, and also the diseases that they brought over, intentionally giving them smallpox with blankets to wipe them out. Those people that are in college right now that are Native Americans, they weren't there. They were their ancestors, so they are entitled to go to college for free and several other benefits as long as they can prove that they are descendants of those Native Americans. So I don't see any difference in, now blacks, no, we didn't own any land like the Native Americans, but I don't see any difference in us getting reparations if we are the direct descendants of the things that our ancestors brought with us when we came to America. Now let's take all the Johnsons, all the black people that are Johnsons and Joneses and Washingtons and Jeffersons and Browns and all the other black people that have these slave names. Why don't you take these same people who benefited from the slave trade, all the blacks that labored for these Johnsons and Joneses and Washingtons? I think 5 million is probably a smidget of the wealth that people like Johnson and Johnson's and the one that made the liquor, Jack Daniels. All of these slaves, a slave taught Jack Daniels the recipe for whiskey. And there's a whole lot of other things slaves have done for the Johnsons and the Joneses and the Washingtons, all the free labor that they did for the crops that they cultivated for these masters and not get a dime. Their descendants are entitled to that wealth. They're entitled to that because it came from the backs of slaves. So me and all that's who alive today that's black, that came from descendants of slavery, they're entitled to that, as the same as Native Americans are entitled to go to college and receive other benefits that their descendants had to go through from what they lost because of what the European settlers did and came over to America and did. So, people laugh and say, oh, that's a lot, 5 million. That's probably an understatement compared to all the millions of black people with the name Johnson and Jones and Washington and Browns and whoever else is out there who came from descendants of slaves. All the back-breaking, sun up, sun down work that they did in the fields that they never received any monies for. It's an understatement. And that's all I wanted to say.
Mate,
Hello.
thank
Good
you for waiting
afternoon.
patiently.
Good afternoon or good evening. There's a few things. Well, I don't think I can remember everything. But I'll go after what Shy Lady has said. All right. I don't think you know this or heard this before, but the whole Native American thing that you're speaking on, there's a little back and forth going on with them. But I'll just give you a quick rundown. Um, Native Americans are very fucked up people. Right now, I don't know if it's
I'm
continuing
sorry.
now.
Who did you say were fucked up people?
The Native Americans.
Wow. Go ahead.
Yeah, because there's a thing. I don't. You need to research it. There's a documentary basically. So there are black Native Americans are some resemblance something with black Americans are black Native Americans who are more dark skinned than the red skinned ones who fought together. They fought together against I think the the Portuguese or the British or someone. I don't remember, but they were giving out some funds, like a whole heap of money. I'm talking about millions. And this is what the Native Americans said. The blacks are whatever, because the other Native Americans they have a different name, the black ones. I don't remember. They're saying that they're not gonna give the black ones that resemble us any money. We don't deserve it. This is what they said. They're not gonna give us any of the government funding that they're receiving. They kicked out all of the black natives that has our skin tones and not the red skin tones. And they say the only way they will let them back into the tribe, yeah, it's a tribal thing. They won't be receiving any benefits, but they can come back to the tribe. And the government stop the funding and say that they won't give them any funding, give the tribe or the whole Native Americans any funding because they kicked out the black ones and the black and the Redskins on us. They're saying that um why it's that, and they're trying to say, all right, we will let the dark skinned black natives back into the tribe, but we will not give them any funds. So do your research on that. You'll see for yourself. That's a whole thing. I don't remember what stage it's in. So the next thing about reparations, cool. I don't really fully wholehearted agree about the money part, but seeing that everybody is talking about money, how there's a lot of people they aren't well prepared for the reparation money, because I think me 85% of them is gonna fucking send it right back to the white person that you guys have problem with. No, a lot of them aren't structured right now to say, all right, if I receive $5 million, I have a plan to do this and carry it right through. Everybody's gonna, most person, I don't want to say everybody, is gonna be balling and doing all of those type of dumb shit, and then once the money blows through, everybody's gonna be looking sideways and wondering what's going on. So, to me, talking about it, as Baram said, makes no sense. We already know the problem. We already know the problem. We know the situation. We need to find a solution. Talking about the problem, yes, gives you memories or it builds up this thing inside your chest to let you feel some, yeah, more way, which that's what they use to play on your emotions. And once somebody controls your emotions, they control you and your outcome and your behavior. So I wouldn't say soul sister, you know the type of person I am. I don't go with the norm structure of everybody
May, I'm still, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm still kind of being rubbed the wrong way just from things that you said last night on Mimi's show. I mean, I think that your way of thinking is just, you know,
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not
even
on. I'm not
I'm
on.
you know
Sorry,
I
sorry.
know I'm just saying. I mean, because I think that you're wrong on a lot of points and how people spend their money. If you gave me $5 million and I went to a casino and I blew it all, that's not your business. At the
But
same
you're
point,
gonna come
if
back.
wait,
But
hold
you're
on,
gonna.
if I took my paycheck that I got paid from my job and took it and I blew it all in one night. That's not your concern.
Of course, it's not my concern. But
But
you're gonna revert
again,
right back to this.
what Shy Lady said, she has a lot of good points.
As I'm
Go ahead.
saying, as I'm saying, you blow the money right now, and I'm not an African. I'm a Jamaican for that person who's asking, and I'm gonna touch on that part because y'all think that America is the whole fucking world, and
No, no,
clearly,
no, no, no,
it's
no. And
not.
see, that's another thing. You have a
No, no, I'm
way
talking about
of
this person.
making
No,
assumptions. You have a way of making
no, I'm talking
assumptions
about
made. Yes,
so
you
sister,
do.
so sister. I'm talking about this person.
Go ahead.
Before, all right, I'm gonna touch on the part that he's thinking I'm African. No, I'm not African. I'm a Jamaican. I'm a Caribbean, whatever. All right. My problem is if you feel like you're unwanted within a country, what would normal people do? They would leave if you're uncomfortable in an area, if it's affecting your work, your job, your focus, your livelihood, one would up and leave because hell, I'm getting a fight. Why would I want to stay where I'm getting a fight? Cool. You would leave the area, seek job somewhere else. Fine if you want to stay and tough it out, complain every day. That's not going to do any good. It's either you leave or you stand up for something and try to put a structure in place. A lot of people rather complain and all of that. So I'm saying this: if I'm in America and I'm having issues, and I know if I go to a different country with all of my money that I have accumulated over a period of time, this is me now. I'm gonna talk about flexing and balling. I can be a god, sir. You get me? So you can go there, you can build a lot of infrastructure. I'm going to talk about realistic being now. You can build a lot of infrastructure. You can contribute to that economy and build and have status as a person of the same color as yourself within a different country. People who are well traveled, they're very versed and they have a lot of understanding about that. Outside countries, aside from America and the European countries, there's a lot of other countries there that if you go and you invest within that country, life can be way much better for you and your generation and your family. Just like what the Chinese did. They were under siege back in the colonial times and they had it hard. They were under the imperialism of the United Kingdom.
Mate,
Why?
why would I leave a country that my ancestors built? Why would I leave a country that, has my ancestors' blood all over it? If anything, I am going to fight for it. I am going to fight for what is mine. Why would I leave? And you have a lot of, people of color here who are trying to make a positive change.
A lot of individuals that are trying to make a positive change. Nobody's coming together. Everybody wants to
There
be a
are a
leader.
lot of people who are coming together. You may not know it, but there are a lot of people who are coming together. And
Can you
I
name
mean,
one?
honestly, May, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm just taking from what you said on some of my previous shows, what you said on some of Mimi's shows. It just seems like that you had this, that you hate people that look like you, that you're down on people that look like you,
Really?
which is fine. But
Really?
don't lump us all together and
No,
assume that
no.
we all are this or we all are that. So
That's a defensive mechanism and the victim mentality. That's
excuse
all
me,
is
one thing
about.
I am not is I am not a victim. I am not a victim. I
No,
am
but
not a
why would you say that?
victim.
I'm here. I've been on your show.
I am very educated. I come from educated people.
It's not a
Okay?
matter of being educated.
So,
I've been on your show countless times, and we've had conversation.
yes,
Both
we have.
the thing is that everybody have a different outlook and a different whatever perspective on things. I don't want to say this because I'm gonna get more heat. But what you just said, you're very wrong. I'm all about black people. Love for black people. I love black women, of course. I'm not even gonna touch on Mimi situation. But if everybody was coming together, I'm just gonna use this example. Mr. Umar Johnson wants to start a school. Really, a man who wants to start a black school, trade school, whatever its idealistic mindset is. Why not everybody come together and help the man buy the school to fund the school and get the school up and running so we can have black tradesmen, black trades female, all of those stuff like that. Strictly black. That's what he wants his school for. No white people there, strictly black. And why? Why nobody is coming together? Everybody has an opinion, but nobody has a solution to solve is my problem. Get me? So as I said, I have a different outlook, a different perspective.
Okay.
Hello,
And
Mimi.
I am going to pass the mic because we have Mimi is on, and I want to address something that that Rev Bro says. You definitely shouldn't speak because outside of Try J Love, you guys are begging in the streets. That's why I haven't revisited Jamaica. You should be ashamed of yourself. Having said that, I'm gonna pass the mic to Mimi. Mimi, go ahead, sister. You have the mic.
You gotta okay, so what did I miss? Kind of sum it up. Cause
You missed too much.
okay, kind of sum up a little bit for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know I be moving. I'm sick.
Well,
And
I would
I
say
got
your initial question. I would start with that.
okay, yeah.
Okay, basically, I was talking about hate, and basically, the whole movie with Tupac, and the book, The Hate You Give, whatever, and it and the conversation went from hate to racism to tolerance to being a bigot to reparations to our black people being victims, whatever, to Shy Lady giving us a history on everything that black people have put up with.
And
And
see, that's what I hate. And I don't mean to cut you off. I get so tired of motherfuckers talking about black people being victims because we complain about what our ancestors and shit went through. We went through that shit and we still going through it to this day. And I just heard Main Man say that like that's a victim mentality. Why not move? And I don't blame you for saying, why would you move from a country that our ancestors built? Hell yeah, I'm gonna complain and I'm gonna fight, but we're limited to certain things we can do. They killing our ass dead. You know, it's not that we're complaining, we're standing up, but then when we don't say shit, then you guys are saying, oh, well, black people never say nothing. Black people don't do this and black people don't do this. But then when we stand up and we fight, well, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's just, why do we always have to be against each other? I don't understand that. It's always something. You wear something in public, you making us look bad. Well, who the hell we making you look bad in front of? Why do you care about what the hell, like Monique said? I don't understand why black people go to the airport with bonnets and this and that. Listen, lady, you rich as hell. All you got to do is stand up. They gonna put you to sleep. They gonna put your hair on for you, nails on, get your dress all. Damn, now wash your back if you wanted them to. You know, so I'm not gonna go to no damn airport fully dressed with makeup and shit on. Give me 1 second. I'm not gonna go to no airport with makeup and shit on and fully dressed, and I got a 8-hour, 10-hour ride. So you telling me that's why we always look bad in front of who? Why are you instead of trying to oppress these people? And I'm not trying to say that all white people are bad, all white people are, fucked up, but we gotta stop. We really have to stop. I got so much to say, but I'm on the road and it just really pissed me off. Man, I told you, me and you were friends off of here. You're on here because of me. But I had to pull back from you because your mentality is jacked up. Your mentality is your way of thinking. You don't have an open mind. You have a closed mind. And you can learn stuff from different people. It's either your way or no way. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. I learned a lot of great lessons from a few fucked up people.
Okay. I'm going to go on to Revolutionary Bro.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
All right. What do you want to know about? No, hold on. What do you want to know
Go ahead,
about?
bro.
Listen, listen.
What do you want to know about Jamaica?
Listen, I don't want to know nothing about. I'm not even here to discuss Jamaica. So you should have just listened, bro. You shouldn't even really had a piece to speak, because if reparations were given out, you wouldn't receive them anyway. You have to argue with the Europeans that colonized
Why would I
Jamaica,
want to receive
not America.
any? Why would I want to receive any? I'm a hardworking individual. I am a lighting technician. My job is very
Matt,
good.
let me tell you,
I
bro.
earn
Please don't
how
speak
much
about
I do.
money. I earn way more than you do, so this ain't even
It
about
doesn't
the money.
matter. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. You're trying to
Then why you bring
silence
it up?
up.
Then why did you
No,
bring it up if it don't
you
matter?
just brought
Why
it up.
did you bring it
You
up if
just
it
brought
don't
it
matter?
up.
You brought it up, bro.
Listen,
Not me. You put up money.
Really?
You said
Really?
who put up money, Solid Blue?
You just spoke
May,
about
you did bring it up.
reparation.
Made,
How did I?
Made Man brought it up. He talked about
But
where
I
he
still,
was working,
brothers,
and
I
I was
still
letting
feel
him
like,
know.
bro, and May, I feel like we still gotta pull back just so it get not so too kind of like crazy, man. Because I think we should pay attention that we all have maybe the same like love and intent. We may display a little differently, but we gotta respect that. Because I might not agree with all y'all, but I love all y'all, and I it's a good show. So I want
All
to
right,
keep
let
it
me
in
say
this
this.
respectful spirit.
Let me say this. If something was going on directly in the city of the state that you're from, right? And I'm 5, 6, 7 states away from there. I can't speak on what's going on in your city and you there. The most that I could do is either come through and help or listen to you tell me what's going on in your city. How this dude going to come all the way from Jamaica and tell us what we don't have the right to do? We have the right to ask for reparations. Do you know how they're saying that most of the black people that's around today wasn't slaves? Well, most of the Jews that are accepting Holocaust checks right now, they wasn't shot up by Hitler. Their bombs wasn't dropped on them. They wasn't gas chamber, but they're sure enough benefiting. Somebody needs to answer that.
Bro, what I think is that I think this is what we here for, so we can learn that. I might speak out my
Well,
side
I
of my
got to
mouth a
teach.
bunch of times. And so, exactly. And so teaching a matter of, I feel like more so, it might get a little bit heated, but teaching and a matter of we are bringing each other up is always the first option for me. So, but sometimes you might want to do tough love, but I just didn't want to get too too crazy. You know what I'm saying? Us cussing each other
No,
out.
it pisses me off the fact that Maid or whoever is not the only person that said it. I hear that all the time. We the only motherfucking race that didn't get reparations. We're the only race. Everybody got reparations but us, but they telling us to let the fucking past go. The past ain't gone. We in modern day slavery. We in
Exactly.
modern day
Understood.
slavery.
100% right. Do you know the no-knock law officers
Okay,
just got
guys.
ordered?
Wait, guys. I want to take a step back for a moment because I purposely have just been letting you all go back and forth. You know, the bottom line for me is, you know, you look at the state of Washington D.C., where yes, white people did help build it, but Benjamin Banneker, a black man, designed it. He designed all of Washington D.C. When you look at the North and the South, the South would not have been what it was if it weren't for slaves. The North wouldn't be what it was if it weren't for slaves, because the North was buying the cotton and the tobacco and everything else that the South was making. So we are a very integral part of this country. And Mimi
Do you know?
is right. Every other, you know, race has received something except for us. Hell, we couldn't even drink out of the same damn water fountain. You know, so I mean, you know,
I think it's a gap though, Solid. I think it's a gap though, like what we're having with even with May, because I think he acknowledged the fact that yeah, you know, it's two ways. You can either be a defeatist or you can get up. He said you can leave or you can stay here and you can fight. What he didn't like is complaining, right? The
okay,
complaining
no,
of
but
it.
I
So he's
think
saying, so put up or shut up, right? So if he says that, you know, for the point to just real quick, if he's saying I just don't like when people complain about it. If you choosing to stay, you fight, and he's acknowledging that, right? And so he acknowledges, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. There's two options you got, but the complaining is the part we need to get over. And I think our grandmama will tell us that. I think our mama will tell us that, right?
Okay, but
Solid
Chill,
Blue.
the problem that I have with May is that on, and I'm gonna say Mimi's show, and especially last night, because that just rubbed me the wrong way. The way you deliver things, and we've talked about this before, it is in the delivery. And May just has a way of, when he talks about people who looks like him, that we're like at the bottom of everybody's shoe. And it's, you know, and he's going to again say, well, if you don't like it, leave. Again, why am I going to leave a country that my forefathers built? I mean, I have people in my family, uncles, great uncles, who were freaking lynched.
But,
You know,
but
people,
you're
you
right,
know,
Solid.
so I'm
I
just
feel like
saying,
you're right.
so it is
I feel like you're right. But he also said that if you can,
it's the delivery.
You're right. But he also said, and see, this is the part that I really feel like, because the communication gap, especially we already pissed at somebody. We harp on that one point, but we forget the fact that he just said, he also said, if you want to stay there and fight too. That's also an option, which is an admirable option.
I acknowledge
that really quick. What most people are thinking of as complaining, it's not complaint. It's keeping the story alive, like the Jews do, so nobody forget.
Good point.
See, if we forget,
That's
it can happen to us again, and we're never supposed to forget. No, I'm gonna talk about it till the day I die, because I'm an educator.
Come on, you're talking about something that is already documented. You're trying to use a scapegoat tactics about
but we still got babies having babies. We still got motherfuckers being born. So I'ma talk about it to the day I motherfucking die too. I'm gonna educate my daughter. I'm gonna educate her daughter. And if I'm allowed to educate they motherfucking daughter.
And if you don't want to hear it, you leave. You leave if you don't want to hear it.
I'm quite fine where I'm at the end of the day.
No, obviously you're not, because you talk about coming to America. Don't do that, May. Don't do that. You know, I know you better than anybody on here. Don't do that.
And I can speak, and I can speak on that if I want. My professor coming there is working for us. Simple. You already know that. So
But you talk shit about America, so why you want to come someplace that you
Yeah, he
feel that is
approved.
just horrible?
because I've been offered that job here. What
Well,
the
work
fuck?
where you. Well, first of all, calm the fuck down, because you already know that I will get busy with your ass on here. So don't do that.
Okay, Mimi.
Smoke for smoke.
Yo, baby going
Like,
off.
mind your motherfucking tongue, please.
Smoke for smoke, Mimi. Smoke for smoke.
No, don't just act like you just hate America so bad, but talking about you got offered a job here. But even if you got offered a job, if you don't like it, so why the fuck you coming? You always talk
Exactly.
about how America is just so bad. It's just this. It's just this. But this is where you want to come.
Never. You know, I've never done anything like that. I spoke on issues that irritated me. Okay,
Man,
you're talking about
I'm just
coming
gonna
there.
say
Why would I
this.
come there? I come there for the money, work my money, and take my
No, we
money
not.
home.
But why
Okay,
you want to be around people
okay,
that
wait.
ain't?
Okay, hold on. Everybody mute. Everybody mute. Welcome, Dina Joe. Okay, I'm sorry I missed your show this morning. All right, so I'm gonna go to Bahram because I know he's been wanting to say something. So everybody, let's just take a breather. Ba, you have the mic.
Well, right. I want to say first and foremost, I know I started this. I feel like I wrote in the chat there. I feel like I've thrown a grenade in the room and left. But ultimately, I'd be saying these things, and I know where Maid's coming from. If you guys were all Jews, I'd be saying the exact same. So revolutionary, bro. It's not the fact that you guys are black, and it's just the fact that you guys are here and that we're in this room. My background in philosophy is very key to this conversation. Not my background in history, not my background in politics. So I have to take things like reparations and apply them 100% purely. So if you have to talk about black people getting 5 million in free tax for the rest of their lives and free healthcare, you then have to start the conversation of what do the Jews get? What do the Scottish people get? What do the Irish people get? What do the Native Americans get? What do the Australian Aborigines get? Because if you don't, you open a big can of worms. It's not, yes, because you guys are here and you guys are defending your history, and that's more power to you. And I'm not about shutting the conversation down. I know the conversation needs to happen. But ultimately, we need to change the conversation at some point. And I'm not telling you guys when, but because we're on a Podbean podcast, and most of the people are here, weekday and Monday to Thursday, this great show happens, and we all know the history of the black people. We then have to turn it to how do we fix it? Otherwise, you get people like Maid and myself coming onto your show, and hopefully you guys take me with the respect that I show you. Hopefully I show you guys. Although I'm not the best at speaking, I do try my best to not offend. But ultimately, I will say things in order to get to the truth. You will have people coming on your show and saying that you guys sound as if you are victim culturing, like you're like poor us, we want money, we want free handouts. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that's what you will get. Because when people say we want 5 million and we want free tax, it's like, you just can't ask for that unless you provide you guys were never slaves. And listen, I know what Mimi was saying, like we're still slaves to this day. I'm still a slave. I'm white. I pay 40% tax on my weekly wage. That's a form of slavery. White people are poor as well in this world. All cultures, all races, all religions, we're all oppressed in some sort of way. So that's where, like I said, the philosophy has to be true, pure, and principles must be set. So like you can't just change goalposts because even like the Holodomor. We talk about the Holocaust. No one talks about the Holodomor, which is something that happened in the early 1900s with the Ukrainians, where Stalin went over and starved them to death and just mass genocide. Those were white Christian Europeans. How much do they get? So it's not that I want to come on here and offend, or it's just I want answers, I want truths, I want to fix this problem, and all I get is, you've just got to watch what you do. And my final point as well, can you guys answer me, like people like Morgan Freeman, Kanye West, LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey, what were their attitudes? Do you think they were stuck in that attitude of we're oppressed and all that, or do you think they went out and grabbed their opportunities?
Okay, Bob. But see, this is where we go back and forth, because Bob and I we've talked about this before. You keep putting us in this victim mentality, and
I don't.
and what Oprah went, what you just did, because but by you just saying that, do you think that LeBron James or Oprah or Kanye, whatever, do you think that they did that? Honestly, I don't know, because I don't know what they talk about behind closed doors. But what I do know is all of them had to work damn hard and twice as hard to get where they are. Just because they have $1 billion doesn't mean that they did not have to fight or say, this isn't right. Just because someone says that something isn't right does not mean that we're being a victim. And
Solid Blue, can I say something really quick?
Wait, hold on. And I want to read something that Shy Lady said. The Holocaust happened in Europe. In America, the history of the Jewish community is kept alive because it's important to that group. The history of slavery happened in America, and as a descendant of slaves, it's important to most Black people that our history is not erased or forgotten, because everyone needs to know it, just like it's important for Native Americans and the Jewish community. Reparations for Blacks in America is not unjust, in my opinion. And again, just because you say that you want something or that you need something doesn't mean that you're a victim. And again, we're, I don't care what other Black people think about other Black people, but I do, but I will say this. We are just in a group that's just different. We're in a group that, yes, we do have to work twice as hard. I told someone that my mother had her master's, and someone said, "Really? Your mother has her master's?" Well, hell, my whole family masters, whatever. My friends that I grew up with, masters, PhDs, their kids are getting masters, whatever. Yeah, I come from educated people, and for them to say that to me, I was like, well, damn. Like, Black people aren't smart enough to get a master's or a PhD. It's always, we have to work harder. We have to explain. So, I don't know.
Solid Blue, can I help you for just 1 second? Just 1 second, Solid Blue. Whenever white people, Europeans, are talking to Blacks, what they typically say is, well, the Shannon Sharps of the world, the Jay-Z's of the world, when they're talking to Jews, I never hear them mention, the Zuckerbergs. I never hear them mention the Epsteins. What was the man that was raping the ladies, the movie producer? He was around the same time as R. Kelly. They never look at them as the litmus for who Jews is. Yeah, Weinstein. They never look at Weinstein and them as the litmus for how Jews should be, but they always look at Bill Cosby and them as the litmus for who we should be. And understand this, it was Europeans who let Jay-Z there, that let Bill Cosby there, and they not letting everybody Black in. So stop that. Stop that. Everybody Black cannot join that train.
We got a bill. We've been waiting on a bill to be passed. We've been waiting on a bill to be passed since what's his name? The guy that got beat.
John Lewis.
No. The boy that got beat real bad. I can't even think of his name right now.
There's so many, I can't remember which one.
But anyways, Who got a bill passed? Chinese people. They got a bill just passed. They got
Yes,
somebody else
yes.
just got a bill just passed. And we still waiting on the motherfucking bill from years and years and years ago. And y'all talking about we need to just stop talking about it and well, I'm working. We don't need the reparations. Yes, the fuck we do. Just because we didn't get beat and lynched and picking cotton, we're still going through a police brutality. You know, I get scared. Lord knows, I'm so glad I didn't have a son. Because I get scared every time I drive a car and the police get behind me. Scared they're going to pull me over and do something to me. So, yeah, we still go through it. So, yes, we have a wealth gap. We're behind. We're behind. 400 years plus behind because we didn't get reparations. Do y'all not understand that? We're so behind.
They
We're
don't
born
care.
into fucking poverty. We're born into poverty because we didn't get reparations. Everybody got that shit and they getting, jobs and they're getting rich because their family was rich. We didn't get that. We didn't get put in positions. We got to bust our ass and still don't get noticed. Made Man said something yesterday like, where you got people that's looking up to Cardi B and you got people that's looking up to Meg Thee Stallion and stuff like that. Yeah, because guess what? Them motherfuckers getting rich just off of talking about selling ass and selling this and doing that and having their titties and their ass and stuff done. So we look at that like that's a get rich screen. Get
Rich quick scheme.
yeah, get
What was
rich
the full
quick
context of the
scheme.
conversation? No.
Okay.
What was
May,
the full
I'm
context
gonna
of the
let
conversation?
May. Wait, hold on. May, go ahead.
I gotta go.
Okay, Mimi. Thank you, Mimi, for showing up. May, I will give you the mic, and then we're going to wrap this up. But go ahead, May.
We need to have a full, non-biased, all-out conversation about this. I hope you and Bahram and Revolutionary Brother and Chill can sort that out on a different platform where we have time. But all right, the full context of the Meg Thee Stallion and the Cardi B and all of that. I said, well, yes.
Okay, wait. Hold on. We are about to get cut. We're about to get cut off. So I just want to say that, bro, Bahram and I want you to be on our show, and we're about to get cut off. So I'm going to have to end this. I'll change the topic for tomorrow. I will make this a part 2 if you all want to come back. And we can do a part 2, but I am at my 30-second warning because I have gone over the 2-hour mark, but I will do a part 2 tomorrow. Bro, please go to please send me an email at solidbluesister@gmail, because Bahram and I, we have been trying to get in contact with you. We really would like to talk to you. I will do a part 2 of the show tomorrow. Okay. So on that note, guys, I will let you back on the show tomorrow.
Send me your email address.
solidbluesister@gmail.com. solidbluesister@gmail.com. All right. Okay, guys. Peace out.
See y'all.
What time?
Solid Blue.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to turn so reckless. I'm sorry. But I just heard some things that I just totally disagree.
That is okay. That's why I'm going to do a part 2. I'm going to do a part 2 tomorrow. So it's all good. And Frankie, thank you very much for all of your 5 things. May, you can come back tomorrow. I'll do a part 2 of the show. Tuttles, Class 1 Pro, Dina, Joe, everyone, thank you. Ruth,
Thanks for acknowledging
Juju, so Frankie, and thank you very much. And you can come up and be on the panel and just sit and listen anytime. So on that note, guys, I know we are about to cut off.